I'm Huon Hooke, and this is The Real Review. The wine we're tasting today is Tolpuddle Vineyard Chardonnay 2019, which comes from the Coal Valley, Tasmania. It would be very difficult to imagine a more stunningly impressive debut than Tolpuddle when the first Tolpuddle Vineyard wines hit the market in about 2013, I think it was, with the 2012 vintage. This vineyard in the Coal Valley near Richmond was planted by a syndicate of people in 1988, but it was planted to produce grapes for sparkling wines, mainly for Domaine Chandon. So all of it was two varieties, Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. And then in about 2011, Martin Shaw and Michael Hill-Smith, who own Shaw and Smith in the Adelaide Hills, were looking in Tasmania for a place to plant a vineyard. And they looked at a number of different places, the East Coast and other places, and then they looked at Tolpuddle and they fell in love with it immediately and thought, this is the place. It wasn't actually on the market, but they made an offer and the offer was accepted. And immediately they started making terrific wine. They immediately started changing the vineyard because it had been a sparkling wine vineyard. You changed the trellising and various other things, the training method to produce table wine. So they began doing that straight away. The wines immediately made people sit up and take notice, especially the Chardonnay, because of its finesse and its intensity. This is a very special site. The vineyard, of course, was part of the original Glen Eyre vineyard, which is still, there's a vineyard next door called Glen Eyre, and they produce wine too. But this is, the Shaw and Smith with Tolpuddle have done an extraordinary job. They seem to have a great team of people. Their vineyard manager is terrific. Their winemaker, Adam Wadowitz, who's based, of course, in the Adelaide Hills, does a fantastic job. He's one of the top winemakers in Australia at the moment, in my view. And everything about this vineyard suits what they want to do. The soils are sandy, soils over sandstone, silica over sandstone. They're moderate yield, moderately productive. That's what you want. You don't want fertile, high production soils. And they're throwing everything at this property to make it one of the best that they can do, one of the best wines in Australia. So, what does this wine taste like? This is a very crisp. A lot of people have likened this sort of wine to Chablis, which is, I'm sure all of you are aware, it's quite a high acid, delicate Chardonnay. It's from, Chablis is probably the coldest famous region for Chardonnay in the world. So the wines are delicate, steely, high acid, and only from the Grand Cru sites do they really develop ripe Chardonnay character as we know it in, say, the New World. Anyway, does this wine taste like Chablis? Let's have a go at it. Nice colour, I mean, it's light to mid-yellow, what you'd expect from a Chardonnay that's 2 years old. And the aroma, wow, the aroma has quite a lot of sulphides to it, which is, nowadays it's a fashionable thing for Chardonnays to have a bit of this struck flint, broken rock, kind of smoky character, which adds an extra dimension to the wine. I think of it like the patina on a sculpture. Underneath the patina there is a solid structure of fruit and real strength of character, but the sulphides, the smokiness is just a little a minerally overtone that goes over the top of it. And the longer that wine is open and exposed to the air, the less of that you'll have and the more you'll notice the fruit. Let's taste it. And that is a very, very fine Chardonnay, very intense, terrific acidity. I don't think they practice the malolactic fermentation, which reduces the acidity in high acid wines. That wine is really quite frisky on the palate, and that will enhance its food compatibility. So that'll go terrifically well with fatty foods, especially oysters and oily fish. Wonderful thing to have with oily fish. The acidity really cleanses the finish and leaves you wanting more. The aftertaste is refreshing. It's not acidic to the point of tartness or unpleasantness. It is cleansing acidity. It's beautiful. And that's what you want in a good Riesling that is designed to go with food and is designed to age well. It's a remarkable wine. The fruit flavours are more grapefruit, lemon spectrum. Those are the aromas and flavours you do find in cool climate Chardonnay. The oak is barely perceptible, so they've used some older barrels here, and they have been very careful not to give a dominant oak character to the wine. So it's very, very much a fruit-driven wine, especially on the palate. And those flavours last and last for a long, long time after the wine's gone. This is an outstanding Chardonnay. So how do we rate this Tolpuddle Chardonnay? We gave it 97 points out of 100. So that's a very high gold ribbon score indeed. That's a trophy kind of level. That is really a spectacular wine. And I think it's got a great future ahead of it. It's going to go for a long time. We've said drink it now until 2034. Well, I think it'll hold up for longer than that, but that's a conservative estimate. The wine is a wonderful wine. We rated it #1 out of 20 Chardonnays from Tasmania in the 2019 vintage. And that's a top rank wine. So we asked the winemakers what they would match this with. Adam Wadowitz is the winemaker, and he's obviously a bit of a tooth man because he's given us a very long description of what he'd put with it. And he says, Tolpuddle Chardonnay loves anything from the sea. The searing backbone of acidity allows it to be paired with anything from a simple natural oyster to a rich lobster dish. And he recommends we try it with fresh lobster linguine with a lemon butter sauce. I can't imagine anything better than those two things, one after the other, the oyster and then the linguine with lobster. Good health.